All right, over the last 2 days, I've sent you a couple emails, and one of them was this one from a couple days ago, I guess. And it says, array URLs for class on Wednesday. Well, it turned out to be Thursday instead of Wednesday, but that's fine. And let's say you look at these and you're like, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 7 things there. Come on, I have no time. I'd say a good one to start with would be the second one from the bottom, which says the 7 JS array methods you will need in 2021. So if I was only going to concentrate on one, that's probably would be the one I'd look at. All right. That said, just to show you, this is the introduction to arrays. All right. Next we have, oh, I guess I didn't close it. The JavaScript array handbook. What I liked about this one is just that. They give examples. Now it's a little longer, but they give examples of just about everything. And then they started going down number-wise. 16 array methods every developer should know. 10 array methods every developer should know. 9 array methods every developer should know. Then we get down to the 7. These, let's see. A map is probably the most important one, just so you know. What map does is it allows you to iterate or go through an entire array, pull out just what you'd like, all right, and operate on everything that's in there and make a new array. You can also use map in accordance with filter. What's filter? Think about what a filter is. You know, in my afternoon class, I have 1 female. So if I wanted to filter based on gender, you can see what would happen. You can use filter with map. So I can tell it to filter out. So as an example, I didn't do this in here, but we'll see if we can do this. What if we wanted to take the array that we have and we wanted, you know, this program, we wanted to add a couple more things. One, we wanted to just show the odd numbers in the array, and one, we wanted to just show the even numbers in the array. So we could filter it by doing the array element, the value, modulo it by 2, and if it was 0, we know that it would go into the evens array, and if it was a 1, it would go in the odds array. Does that make sense? All right, so just examples of how it can be used. So there's the array map. Again, lots of examples. There's the filter. Didn't know if it'd be next or not, but I figured it'd be in here. This is the reduce. And as it says, this one's a little trickier to understand. It reduces an array down to 1 value. What the hell does that mean? Well, what we're going to do is when we want the sum, we're going to use the reduce method. All right? Because it's 1 line of code. We don't have to write a loop anymore because basically it'll put it into a loop for us, for lack of better words. All right. Then we've got for each. This is another way of iterating your way through a loop. Or I'm sorry, through an array rather. There's find. That's a Boolean, so it'll return true if something exists and false if it doesn't. Make sense? There's every, and what every does is it'll check and it'll only return true. So for instance, if I was going to check to make sure every value that was in there was less than 100, let's say. If it was 101, it would return false. Even if I had 1,000,000 values and only one was out of range. So everything has to meet. There's also one called sum, which just means does any of them meet the criteria? You get that? All right, so those are the most important ones. Now, I found this. I didn't send you this one, and I wish I would have. You may want to key this in right now, literally, into your address bar, and if you bookmark things, bookmark it. All right, and I'll leave that up there for just a second. If it comes back down and it says this, JavaScript array reference, I just copied it, so I didn't write it, so it should be correct. So it's w3schools.com/jsref, JavaScript reference, /JSRef/obj/array. And it has listed, look in here. This won't move, but look. This has got everything. This is every method that there is for arrays, including the new ones. There's find, which is new. There's sum, which I just showed you. There's filter, there's map, and being W3 Schools, it will show you more simplistic examples. than you quite often will find in a lot of these articles. All right? Like I said, I'd rather throw 10 things at you and have you say one of them's good. Then if one of them's good, it's going to be it's probably going to be this one. All right? Everybody have that? All right, I'll just minimize it for now. So I'm going to leave that one up there. Then I sent you this. I found this online. This is a chapter from a book, but it's hyperlinked up the wazoo, and they've got examples of just about everything you can think of in there. This is the email that I sent you, one of two that I sent you this morning. It looks like this. It's got 4 things in it. All right? So that's pretty extensive. Then there's this. If you don't know this, another place that you might want to check out. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but freecodecamp.org. It's free. They literally, so for instance, if I go out to YouTube and I put in, just as an example here, free code camp intro to, not into, Jeff, free code camp. We'll just put JavaScript intro, something like that. Good news, bad news. The good news is it's unbelievably extensive. The bad news is that one's 3.5 hours. Some of theirs are up to 9 or 10 hours in length. And why am I telling you this? Because there's a lot of people who are trying to learn how to do this without going to school. And that's what a lot of them do. All right? Okay. So there's a couple things from Free Code Camp. There's this ultimate guide to using reduce. There's another ultimate guide using map. This thing I found, there's 116 different problems in here. All right, many of them I couldn't do, but they give you the solution also. So if you're interested in that, and I just gave you the Free Code Camp thing. Okay, and I'm going to close that. All right. So like I said, I'm just giving you some additional resources. If you're interested, great, and if you're not, it's not a problem. All right, so with that said, I'm going to come in and I'm going to open up, and I want you to, the Array 02 New School. And again, you may have copied the other one in, you may not have, but I'm going to start from the beginning. So in other words, mine looks like this. Pretty much the same way it looked when we did the other one. All right, but that's the way I'm going to do it. All right. Now, I will cheat, and what I mean is, I don't think there's anything that's different for a while. So in other words, when I look at here, let me bring up the old one as well. I don't think I changed anything in main. I don't think I changed anything in show menu. I don't think I changed anything in call the correct method. And I don't think I changed anything in create new array. All right? So I'm going to grab all of that stuff up until display array. I'm going to grab everything from the old one and copy it into the new one. Do you all understand what I'm talking about? All right. So I'm going to go up to the top here, and until we get to the display, oops, come on. All right. So I've got the same stuff. This may not take that long. We may be able to do this and be done by about 10:15 or so, okay? But I'd rather do it like this. It's foolish for you to watch me type. All right? So main is the same. This was all changed. I've got the using strict in here now. I've got my lets instead of my vars, etc. The show menu hasn't changed. The call correct method hasn't changed. But I will tell you what, let's do this. Let's do this. All right? We got this, and it's all fine. We've got this. Does everybody understand what's happening in that gray line? It's taking what we put in the first array and it's copying into the second array. Does that make sense? Now, totally fine to do it that way. Not a problem. But I want to show you another way we can do that. And I'm hoping I give you the right syntax, okay? And I'm doing it like this on purpose. If I make a mistake, you're going to see it right away. That's okay with me. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do this. numbers, copy, equal, and then in brackets, dot, 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 numbers, original. All right? It's using what's called the spread operator. This is one of the ways that you can copy one array to another array. You hear me? All right. Now, what I want to do, I want to see whether or not this works, okay? You with me? I want to just see if it works. So I'm going to call in here underneath this, display array, display array, and how do we call that again? I always forget, so. And I'm going to call this in here twice, because I want to see whether or not I did it correctly. No, Z. So I'm going to call it with the original, and then I'm going to call it again, and I'm going to pass it in the copy. Everybody see what I'm talking about here? Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing it this way. You could even make a case and say, well, you're replacing one line with one line. What the hell's the difference? There isn't any. But I'm showing you the usage of a new operator. That's the idea behind it. So you're going to know as soon as I do whether or not this worked. All right, so I'm going to save. And it's now number 2 I want to run and not number 1. So that's this one. Hopefully there's no mistakes in here. All right, so let's see. Let's do 1 to generate the new array. All right, then let's do 2 to display it in the original order. Well, it doesn't like something. All right, that's fine. 3, doesn't like that either. Okay, 0, does that work? That works. That's good. Program exiting normally. I don't think it gave me any errors. It didn't. In my console, it's empty, so there are no errors in there. So let's just see what happened. All right. I did save. That's the first thing I always check. So let's see. That stuff hasn't changed, so that should be fine. That should be fine. There's nothing in there that has changed. Create. All right. Create original, because that didn't work, and that didn't work. Numbers original. And also, that didn't appear to work. So I don't think that this is the problem. All right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment that line out, uncomment the old one that I had in, because it's possible I gave you the wrong syntax. Not on purpose, but it's possible I did. So I'm going to check that. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So that doesn't look like it's the problem. There's something that I'm not calling that I was calling before. So let's see if we can figure out what it is. All right. So we're up here. Turn. Did I change anything in main? No. Display. So this right here, this create new array and display, that should be being called. That should be doing the first one. For some reason, it doesn't look like it is being called. Now, I'll show you what I think the problem is, but I don't know. If you look at this, it's called array2.02.js. Well, the first thing for me to go and take a look at is in my index.html file, is that what I called it? It looks like it is. Array02. Well, that's the first thing. All right, so I want to see whether or not, something's screwed up in here. I want to fix it. So I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to come up to the top of my this was the copy. This is the one we're working with. All right, so I want to come in here, and just at the top of the program, I want to see if this is even being called. So I'm going to put that alert back in. Alert, JS, program, new school. You don't have to do this. I just want to see if it's being called. All right, then I'm going to come back to here and refresh. It is. So that's good. All right, it's at least finding the darn program. It's also doing this, but for some reason, it first should be printing out, remember how the old one printed out the array first? This one's not doing that. I don't know why. See if we can figure out why. Usually with me, it's something simple. I can usually figure out the hard stuff and I can't figure out the easy stuff. Like putting numbers original when you meant to put in numbers copy. All right, so let's look. So main, let selection. That's all copied, so I don't know. So this create new array, it appeared as though it's not calling that. Maybe I commented mine out. That's nope. Create new array. Well, so again, I'm showing you debugging. So I'm gonna put an alert in here and I'm gonna say called, or I'm not even called because I've already did call it, in function create new array. All right. All right. Says I'm in there. It didn't print it out though. All right. So it also it jumped right there. So it skipped my original call. Did you see that? So let's see if we can figure out why that is. I mean, something's wrong in here, and I'd like to figure out what it is. And hopefully it's a teaching moment for all of us, including the instructor. All right. So, came in, do main, call create new array. It did call it right away. So it did call that create new array right there. It did that, but then it didn't look like it was doing this. All right, so let's just say, I'm going to put another alert in here. Both arrays have been filled. I don't know. It's not a great message, but it'll do. And I'm going to just keep that message there, but comment it out. All right, and I'm going to comment out these two calls right now. What I've got should be fine. Both arrays have been filled. All right, so it is getting through there. That's good. I'm stepping my way through this. Just so you know, and I did show you this, but not in a lot of depth. If I come in here, I can right mouse click on here. I can go down to inspect. All right, and if I go into one of these, let's see. I always forget which one it is. But if I go into the console, I can actually bring up, where are we? Computed, no. Layout, no. I've got a bunch of stuff closed here because I was doing some junk for the other class. But you can come in here and you can set breakpoints and tell it to stop, all right? Okay, so that worked, that worked. All right, so this should have called create new array, and then it should have called display array with numbers original. So it should have called that next, display array with numbers original. So I'm going to go down to display array. That's why. I don't have that one in. See that? That's why I'm getting nothing. All right. So I'm just going to grab the display array from the old one. Is there a way to write it better? I would be willing to put money on it. Yes, there is. So file, let's open up that one and let me grab the display array. It's going to grab the entire thing. Should have checked that first. That was foolish not to, but that's okay. All right, now let's look. Just make sure that I haven't broken anything, that's all. All right, both arrays have been filled. There's the array in original order. All right, now what I want to do, because I want you to see this, I want to see whether or not the new code I put in for you works or not. So I'm going to come in here, and these you may or may not remember, but when we fill this up, I'm going to uncomment this. I'm going to comment out this. Look on the screen. I commented out this line in the for loop. I uncommented out this line. All right, and right after both arrays have been filled, I'm going to call display. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to call display array, and I'm going to put in numbers original, and I'm going to put in the word, I'm going to put it in caps so I know how I did that. And then I'm going to call it again, and I'm going to put in numbers copy, and I'm going to put in here copy. The reason I'm going through this trouble and showing you this is I want to see if this line right here worked. Does that make sense? That's what I'm concerned with right now. All right, so jumping back into the program, refresh, run it. Both arrays have been filled. There it is in original order, as you can see. 68, 85, 65, etc. And there it is in copy order. So that line worked. That is an example then of the spread operator. All right, spread and rest. Sometimes spread is called rest, sometimes rest is called spread. I believe that one's spread. All right, and again, I already showed you this, but let's see. Well, they're spliced, they don't have spread. Do they have rest in here? Well, there's some that are missing then. All right. All right, so let's go on then. All right, so we've got the ascending. I don't know if there's a better way to write ascending just because of the fact you saw how short it was, right? And I'm not saying there isn't another way. So if I wanted to know for sure, I would come in here and say something like this. How to sort a JavaScript array using ES5, 5, or ES6 array methods. Let's see if they come up with something. All right, array prototype.sort. It's pretty much what we're doing. Sorting an array more effectively. This is arrays of objects that we don't get into till the end of the year. Using the sort method. So that pretty much says what we're doing is we're doing it the right way. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm going to go back again, and I'm now going to go in here where I put this. I'm going to remove that, both alerts, etc. So that stuff is all out of there now. All right? And the display array works. I'm just going to grab my old sort ascending and sort descending. I'm going to grab both of them. That were right here. Copy them to the clipboard and then put them in here. All right, so that should work. Okay, so I've got my first 4 options are done in there. Looks like I repeated that line, but I'll get rid of that. All right, now we've got the display smallest and we've got the display largest. All right, that's what's next. I'm looking in here to double check, make sure I didn't do anything differently, etc. I didn't there. All right, let's go to display smallest. All right? We can fix this with one line of code. With me? With one line of code. So let's put that line in. Alert. The smallest array element, in fact, let's write it the right way. So let's put in backticks. All right, the smallest array element is, and I'm going to say math.min numbers copy. Now, I think I'm going to have to change something. Just give me a second here, okay? Another paren. I got to end this in a paren. Boom. I think this whole thing will need the $ and curly braces in front of it. All right, so let me put that in. $ curly brace. Curly brace. Now, before you type that, let me make sure it works, okay? So I just did that. I saved it. I'm going to go back to here. There it is. Refresh. Now, there's my array. I'm just looking at it here. And I see a 9. That looks like the smallest number. Everybody see that 9? That looks in mine like it's the smallest number. All right, I'm not going to do the sorting except, in fact, let's just double check and make sure it works. So here's the 3 for ascending order, and you see it is 9. And here's the 4 for descending, and you see 100 is the biggest, okay? So now let's do a 5 for the smallest element. 9. So it works. Not only that, you probably have already figured this out, but just in case you have not, I'm going to grab this line, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to change this to the largest array element is math.max. All right? So I'll let you put both those lines in. 183 and 190 on my screen are the new lines. And again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the way we did it before. You'll see both of them in actual application code. But the idea is when you're writing newer code, you should be using the newer methods. Well, I don't wanna, then don't. All right? What will, again, I'm gonna write the test this weekend, and I want to ask Mr. Gudmested what he's doing. But my desire is, if let's just say Mason's taking the test, and he can't remember how to use this one, but he gets it to work the other way. I'd much rather have you put it in that way and have it done than not put in anything. All right? So I might take a point off, or maybe I won't take off anything. I don't know. But this is not new, just so you know. Math.min is not new. All right? But using it with this spread operator is new. This tells it to use the entire array and give me the smallest number. Even if we had an array with 1 million numbers in it, it would still give us the smallest one. All right? And I believe if there's nothing in there at all, we could check it. But I think it's either going to return -1 or it might even return NaN. I don't know. Do you understand what's happening here? Does everybody get that? And again, you don't have to do this, but what I should have done for completeness sake is I should have come down here and there's nothing wrong with this, writing it like this, but here, I could have gone back and added backticks. You understand what I'm saying? It probably would have been a little cleaner to do it that way. That's the way that you're supposed to do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with what we've got in there thus far. All right. So let's continue on. We truly don't have that much more to do. We got sum and average, right? All right. So you can see that we did go in and for our minimum and for our maximum, all right, and also when we created the array, we made changes. Now, like I said, by no means am I saying it, this is the best program ever written because it shows you everything in the world you'll ever need to know. No, it's shown you some of the new array methods, and you got to see both the old way of doing it and the new way of doing it. All right? So, when we did it before, just so you see this, when we did the sum, remember? We did this. It's not that big of a thing, all right? And then we did that if type of thing that's in there, so we got sum, and then this. What I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to copy it over, but I'm going to remove some and change some of the stuff. With me? All right, so I'm just going to grab it, and I'm going to copy it just so I've got something in there. All right? And I'm going to say here let, because that would have been a better idea anyway. But just so you know what I can do, I'm going to leave that if statement in there, but I'm going to remove everything that's here. And I'm going to do it all in one line of code. All right? And I'm going to put in let sum equals, and it doesn't matter. Remember how last time we added the original array? We'll do the copy this time because it's the same array. It's just the numbers are in different order. All right, so I'll use numbers copy here. Not that we have to. It doesn't matter one way or the other. But I'm going to use the dot reduce method. And I'm going to say here, I'm going to call it accumulator. All right? All right, so not accumulator. Accumulator. And current is going to be the current one I'm working with. Those names can be anything you want them to be. Did you hear me? It's up to you. But what I'm telling it now is to iterate and go through this and into this accumulator plus current, plus current. And you don't have to do this. I'm going to put this on a new line. It's still one line of code, but I put it on 2 lines so you can read it. You all with me? So what this is saying is, all right, what this is saying is, I want to step my way through here, and every time as you're going through the array, add the current value to my accumulator. An accumulator is just something that we came up with. And then when you're all done, stick the whole flaming thing into sum. Does that all make sense? Now, I'm not sure it works. It should. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to refresh the program. There's my stuff. Let's just look at it once in ascending order. Oops, I put a 0 in. Sorry. So there it is. I don't know. It should be, I'm guessing, again, around 1,250. Somewhere around there. All right? But I'm going to try to do the sum now, which is 7. And, unlike something, let's try it again. 7. Didn't do anything, so 7. Oh, it doesn't like something. All right, I'm going to see if I can fix it. Like I said, this has all been tested. I don't know what the problem is, but something's wrong. So you're debugging this now. So what should we be doing? Well, one thing we can do is we can come back here and we can say, JavaScript reduce function example. All right? In fact, there should be even one over here. I think reduce was one of the ones that was over here. So let's look at it. Reduce the values of an array to a single value. That's what we want, right? We want to reduce it to sum. So let's look. So it's got 3 things here. That's all fine. Let's see. Reduce calls my func. Return total minus num. I don't know what they're doing there. All right, I'm going to look, see if I can find a better one here. Understand JavaScript reduce with 5 examples. The code barbarian. All right. Return array.reduce. Reducer. Trying to figure out why mine doesn't work because I know it did. So let's go back and look at what I've got here. Okay, numbers. Copy.reduce. Oh, there should be 2 brackets here, not 1. That might be what the whole thing is. Probably is, just so you know. And the reason that it was blowing up is that was actually a syntax error. So the program was blowing up right there. Does that make sense? All right. So let's save this, go back to the program again, refresh the program, get our new numbers. There they are. Let's see now if we get a sum. I don't. Am I getting an error? All right. Accumulator is not defined. And I didn't define it in here either, but when I did it before, I didn't have using strict. All right, now I've got using strict in here. There's an example where it gave me an error. All right, so let's come back in here. We've got let sum equal, well, this is the new one, so I'm going to come in here. In fact, why, I don't know why we shouldn't be able to say, let's see, sum. We might be able to use sum here and here, but I'm not sure if we can or not. So I'll just say let accumulator. Yes?
You're missing a U after the M in the second.
Ah. That might be it then. Let's try it and see if that's the only thing. Hey, there's a syntax error. So there's that. Let's try the sum. There you go. So you two get gold stars for today. all right? You know, my wife, we have some weird conversations once in a while. I don't drink, maybe I should, but we were talking once about who's going to die first. And I said, I'm sure it's going to be me. And I said, you know, that the old joke, why do men die first? Because they can. You know, if you've never heard that. But, and she's like, well, why? I said, I just think that the way that I am, and I hold so much stuff inside that one day it's just going to all come out and I'll have a heart attack and I'll be gone. And she's like, okay, then what do you want on your tombstone? And I said, all I want is my name and a work in progress. Because that's my life, it's just a work in progress. All right? And I'm proving that to you right now. Okay. So let's do the last one, and then we'll be finished. All right? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over again the old one that we had. And we'll start ripping it apart, but I'm going to copy that over. All right? Oops. So here's that old one, and it would work just fine. All right? I'm going to keep this if statement that's in here right now, but I'm going to change this statement that's right here. And guess what? I'm going to use reduce again. All right? So I'm going to come in here and say let average equal, and again, just to show you it doesn't matter which one of these, now I'll use numbers original. Last time we used the copy, we'll use the original. Dot reduce, and again, keep it real simple. We'll say A, B, and then an arrow function. And again, you can write this all on one line. I'm putting it on a second line so you can read it. All right? And I'm going to say what I want to do is I want to take here A plus B. All right? And I want to divide that by numbers original dot length. We're doing a similar type of thing that we were doing before, but we're doing it using reduce. You could make a good case here. First, let me make sure I didn't make any mistakes, okay? So, the way I've been going, there probably are some in here, but yeah, doesn't like.
I think you forgot the extra paren again.
All right, thank you. On
the first one, the A and B, right, should there be a beginning?
like that, that would make sense. See, you're getting good at debugging. And again, I'd like to say, yeah, I did that on purpose, just to make sure you guys were looking, but it'd be a lie. So let's see. All right, so let's look at the sum. So that's 7, and it's 1073, so that's going to be about almost 43. All right, if it worked. 8, 42.92. Looks like it did. So if you didn't get a chance to copy that down, there it is right there. All right? So we did that one kind of quickly. But you saw that many of the things that we used were still totally valid, right? All right? Now, just so you know, what I'm going to do right now, and I don't want to do it in front of you because I'm sure I'd screw it up, but I'm going to try to combine filter and map, like I told you, and I'm going to put 2 more options in. One option to just give odd numbers, and one option to just give even numbers. You all with me? And I'm going to try to use the filter and the map to create 2 new arrays to do that. All right? And I'll see if I can do that. I'm going to try doing it right now. All right? But I have to go to the bathroom. But after I go to the bathroom, then I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go back and get myself another drink. I wish I would have brought one of my waters with me. But I'll try to see if I can get that done. If I can't get it done by the end of the period, I'll do it tonight, and I'll give it to you tomorrow. Tomorrow now will be lab for the entire period. Now, I had told you that we'll take the test next Thursday. I'm going to leave it up to you right now. I'll take a vote. Sorry, Nick, you're not here. You don't get the vote. So there's 4 of you. Hopefully it won't be 2-2. Otherwise, I make the deciding vote. I'm Kamala Harris. Not one of my goals in life. But Thursday is the job fair. Since there's not that many people usually that come here in the morning early to the job fair, they always ask that we all go. I'm not going to pull you down there for a half an hour and then have you take a test. That doesn't make sense to me. So we can either take the test on Wednesday or we can take the test on Friday. How many people vote for Wednesday? How many people vote for Friday? Well, at least people voted. There you go. So it will be Friday. So next week, Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday will all be labs. All right? I have no idea if I'm going to, I'm going to try to write the test this weekend. Arrays, now you're about as prepared as I think you could be. The other stuff, I hopefully I've given you enough examples that you're okay with loops, etc. You know where the string methods are. You know where the number methods are. Exceptions might be a little hinky, but I did show you those with etc. So hopefully we won't need a pretest, is what I'm saying. So we'll plan on taking the test a week from tomorrow. Questions? All right. Did this help? All right. And I'm telling you right now, I'm hell with it. It's being taped anyway. But to my knowledge, next semester, your class will be totally online. That's what I've been told. Yours won't be. And the reason they're doing that is it's the fourth class that they're finishing up, and they thought it was going to be unfair for them to have to go just for that semester to go to online. That's what I've been told. I've also been told that makes you in the same category. So there's a good chance that the course in fall will also be in the classroom. That'll be an afternoon class for you guys. But what we'll do is by that time, hopefully I'm not going to be saying I'm a Teams expert, but I'll know it well enough that I'll be broadcasting every day on Teams as well. But you'll have your choice, if that's the case, that you can either come in here or you can do it from home. Now, the thing is, if you do it from home, I need some proof that you're there. You see what I'm saying? All right. So if it's a lab day and you say, no, I'm just going to work from home, I would get that. But if it's a lecture day, I might do something, ask a question or whatever. But I don't know how they're going to want me to do this. I have taught online classes before, but it was at a different college, and what we did was we taped all my lectures and then put them out there on YouTube. And people would they'd get them the next day, and they had the same due dates as the in-class people did. So I don't know how they're going to want me to handle this. No one has said a word to me. All right? And I will tell you, without this on, that